love cauliflower. It's a member of the cruciferous family, the same family as cabbage and collards and kale, all the, which is well known to be cancer fighting. And cauliflower is a winter vegetable, and it's one of the great things about nature is that in the winter it gives us all those things that we think we can only get from summer vegetables, like vitamin C. Cauliflower is very high in it, also B6, and it's just really a really good vegetable. Now, this dish that we're going to make is, for me, it's kind of like a meal made in heaven because it's a gratin. And when I lived in France, I got into cooking gratins with milk and cream instead of with the kind of flour-based cheese sauces I'd been brought up with. So the sauce in this dish is really a fantastic compromise. Its base is creamy ricotta cheese blended with a little milk. You can add a little bit more cheese or other spices and flavors, but this base is high protein, low carb, and super simple. Now, if you're looking for a lighter gluten-free sauce for mac and cheese, look no further. This will do it. So look and learn. What I'm going to do is now these are shallots which I sliced, and I just caramelized a little bit in a little bit of olive oil. Shallots are great because they don't take long to get to this stage, and they're very sweet. So I'm going to just put these along the bottom. I used about 3 smallish ones to do this. Actually, mess around. What these will do, these will give like a really nice kind of caramelly, oniony, sweet flavor to the gratin. Right. And then I'm just going to lay the cauliflower pieces on top. It's a bit like making a quilt in as much as just trying to get each of the pieces in. And it's always good to have a dish which is roughly the size of the cauliflower. You want it to be quite packed in. That looks pretty good already. Now, for the sauce. Now I'm going to grate a little bit of, first of all I'm going to grate a little bit of Parmesan. Now, one of the fantastic things about, I always buy Parmesan in a chunk. And there's a good reason for this, because when you buy it pre-grated, you're basically buying air. Because I only need a couple of spoons, and you'll see that with the microplane grater, it goes really fast. I'm also going to grate on top of the cheese a little bit of nutmeg. And again, this is kind of a PSA for microplane graters, because really they're perfectly great. So that's it. Now I'm going to put in the this is the ricotta cheese. It's going in there, and I'm going to put it. There's about a cup of milk here. I'm going to start off slowly. Put a little bit of salt in there, about half a teaspoon. I want this to be the consistency of like heavy cream. Which it kind of is now. So I'm going to put the cheese in. This is the Parmesan. And this will just give it the ricotta a light cheesy flavor. So I'm just going to pour this now over the cauliflower. So it's going to get about as much as I can. The recipe calls for a cup of milk to a cup of ricotta, but really it's one of those things you need to judge it by the consistency, because you can see that this was just creamy. See how it's coating the cauliflower? Right. Now, back to the microplane grater. Now we're going to layer a bit of cheese and breadcrumbs on this, and the breadcrumbs will give it crunch. And again, you can see just how great this grater is. So I'm going to just put some of this on top. Probably should have just grated it straight on there. Now we're going to put in some breadcrumbs. Now these breadcrumbs I made at home from gluten-free bread, and it's so easy to do. You can just put them into a coffee grinder or a food processor and just crunch them up. There we go. It's about a cup here. Okay. A bit more cheese. This is going to be kind of a layering thing. I'm going to put a bit of Parmesan on here too, just because I like it. Okay. And then what I can do, you can either, depends on really what you prefer, but you can either dust it with a little bit of oil or a little bit of butter. And for this I think I'm just going to use a little bit, just dot it with a little bit of butter. This will help the breadcrumbs to brown. Now when this is done, we're going to put this in an oven, 375. For about 30 minutes. Okay.